Hey, what's up? Welcome everybody. In today's video, we will create a API using Laravel Sanctum. So first off, we'll create a login, register, and logout routes for these will be the API routes that you might call from another front-end application that might be mobile application or any single page application. So first off, let's start by setting up Laravel Sanctum. And in this series we'll create a complete API, and we will just go through all the first off we'll just go through all the registration related routes like verification, email verification, forget password, and then we'll go on and create a API. So let's install Laravel Sanctum. So we'll follow this documentation. It's quite easy, just require it with Laravel Sanctum. So here I have a fresh Laravel project. So open up terminal and let's run the command. Just require Laravel Sanctum. It will just install that, as you already know. Once that is done, vendor publish this provider, which will create the migration and all necessary file for Sanctum, and then just run this migrate. So I've already done these two steps. Go ahead and do that. Once that is done, let's go to kernel http, and we need to add this class. So what this will do is this will just make our route accept sessions. Although if you are making this for single page application, then you need to add that. If you are not doing that, let's first go to kernel. All right. So if you are planning to support the API for SPA, then you can add that class here. So that will make it will just make like web routes, but we are not creating for single page application. We are just making a normal API that you can consume from any device, whether that is mobile or any front-end client. So that will be the token based. So we don't need to do all these steps. We don't need to add this class, and we don't need to do any of these. So another step, just go to user and add this. Let's go to user.php. Let me close this IDO. Okay, and here make sure you have this, and you are importing that class has API tokens, which will just create a tokens. All right, so that's all about setup step that we have to do. Install it, just add this API token, and then we can create our token using this. Now after importing this trait, we can just call create token method on user model. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our first route, registration route. So we need to register user. So we need to do that using API. We cannot do using default Laravel authentication, because that is not for API, just views. So first off, let's create a controller. I will create a auth controller, which I will put inside API PHP artisan make controller API. I will create inside API folder and call it auth controller. So once it is done, it will create inside HTTP controllers API auth controller. So I've already created this controller to save some time. And here first method is register method, login, and logout method. So these three methods we'll have in this class, in this controller. So first off, let's start with register controller. So I've just copied this code from default authentication, which is following all the best practices. So here we are validating the request, then creating the user, and then firing a registered event. Then we are creating a token. So you can give any name you want. And then we are returning response, user registered, and then supplying the token. And we are supplying the user object as well, in case our front-end client needs these two. So we'll definitely need this token. Also, we can make use of this user object, like displaying name. So that's all about register. Let's go ahead and test this out. So you can open up Postman or any client application that lets you test API. So first of all, let's go ahead and create new request. From here you can create new request and then just put the URL. By the way, my folder name is auth API 8, so this is my domain. And since this is inside, let's go ahead and go to api.routes. Here we have to define that route, register route, which will be the post route, and then that is pointing to register method on auth controller. That's it. Let's go ahead and send some parameters. So we require these parameters. We have to pass name and web dev password. Let's make it password, and we require these 4 fields for registration. Okay, so once that is done, let's send the request to this endpoint. All right, so let's send the request. All right, so user registered, we get the token, we get the user. So our registration step is done. Let's go ahead and do login. So for login, we have a login route, auth controller pointing to login method. So let's go ahead and collapse this and go to login. So login method, we have this request, login request, which will handle all the login request related stuff like validating email, password, and checking if it is authenticated. So ensure it is not rate limited. It will be following all the best practice for doing login, and all the security layers it is handling. So by the way, if you want to study this code, you can just install Laravel Bridge and just go through these routes and controllers, or you can go to documentation and study all these. So for now, I'm just creating this endpoint for API. I'm not going through all these authentication related details in this video. So this request will verify that user is logged in, and then after that is successful, then we are creating the token, and then we are giving message. Let's give some, yeah, it's okay, you can give some more meaningful message here. I'm just testing that out, and you will pass the data, request user, authenticated user, logged in user, and then the token. All right, this created token. That's it. Let's go ahead and test that out in Insomnia. All right, so just create another one. You can duplicate this. So send the request to login. All right, so let's go and send request this endpoint, and let's enter our email. So I was just testing this out, so I have some layout created previously, I think webdev.gmail.com. let's verify. I just forgot what I created. So in database, let's check which user. Yeah, webdev.gmail, it is registered. Let's go ahead and log in with this account. Yeah, webdev@gmail, this is the password. Let's send the request, of course post request. So another thing you might want to do is just put this accept application JSON header, then it will return all the response in JSON. If any error goes, that will also return. Laravel will know that if any exception comes up, then Laravel will return the JSON response instead of view response. So once that is done, yeah, we are logged in. This user is logged in. We have user data, and then most important, we have token. So let's copy this token. So we get token in both case, login and register, and we can use that token. So once we are logged in, let's try to access some protected route without any token. When we try to visit this endpoint, let me show you that endpoint in here. So this is the endpoint which is protected by Sanctum. So we will not use this middleware just yet. That will handle that in email verification part. So right now we have no email verification route, so we are protecting it with auth Sanctum, this endpoint, and let's try to access that. Let's go ahead and yeah, it is saying unauthenticated. Now we need to send authorization header like so. Just put here authorization, and then we need to put bearer space, then put that token, and then send the request. There we go. So we are authenticated. So in Insomnia, there is another easier method. You don't need to do this space and all. Just go to here and just bearer token, and then you need to enable that. Just paste the token here. You don't need to type bearer. That will also do the same thing. All right, so just a bit easier. And last but not the least, let's go ahead and create a logout route. Auth controller logout will be pretty simple. We need to destroy all the sessions, and we need to, so sorry, no session in API, so we need to destroy all the tokens of user. We are just deleting all the token. This is the method that we get out of from the Sanctum, and we delete it and just say logged out. So let's go ahead and log out as well. Just create new request. So I'm just, to save time, I've just created this request auth API. We don't need bearer token. Yeah, we need bearer token in case of logout, because only authenticated user can log out. So if there is no token, if we try to send logout, maybe we need to protect that route as well with auth Sanctum. Yeah, we are already protecting logout route with auth Sanctum, and without any token, it will say unauthenticated, and we need to paste the token that we just get when we logged in, and then just try to send the request. Now we should be logged out. Yeah, logged out. Now if you try to access the user data, it shouldn't let you with this token. It shouldn't let you enter, yeah, unauthenticated, because user is log out. So if you want to log in again, just go ahead and log in again, get the token, send logout, or access this endpoint, which is the normal flow of API. All right, so this is all about login, logout, and register. Next up, we'll handle email verification, password reset, and update password methods.